Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. Today I am going to talk about 5 league night coaching mistakes. These are not individual things necessarily. Some of them are broad, wide open things that you're doing wrong as your coach. Number 1, we're going to pick on the APA because it's the biggest league, it's the one I'm the most familiar with. And I may mention the APA, but this covers TAP, BCA, everybody's league. Number 1, because you organized the team. First off, thank you, because we need people organizing teams for these amateur leagues or the sport will die. So thank you for anyone who goes through the trouble of being the team captain, collecting the dues, doing all the paperwork and all of that stuff. You should be commended, and once again, thank you very much. But being the person who organizes the team does not mean that you should be the coach of the team. A lot of the organizers of the team, for example, APA, might be an APA what I call forever 4. You were a 4 10 years ago, you're a 4 today, you'll probably be a 4 a few years from now. Unless you are really working on improving your game, which I know some of you are, and that's why you're watching these videos. But if you're an APA 4 and you are the team captain, that doesn't mean you should be the team coach. You are probably not the best person on the team, which brings me to number 2. Be careful about the advice you give. I have players that I brought up in the last 6 weeks that went from APA 3 to APA 5. If I haven't already put it out, you're going to see a video with one of my guys. He came into the APA about 8 weeks ago as a 3. Today, he is a 5. He's probably the best on his team, or certainly one of the best on his teams. Well, you've got a team captain, a coach, who is advising someone who is better than him. Okay? Which brings me to number 3. Know your players, especially those of you who are developing teams and you have some people on the team that you aren't familiar with. You need to find out what is their true speed, because a guy that has a 3 next to his name on the score sheet that's been in the league for 3 weeks is not a 3. He could be a 2, could be a 7. Okay, I know a lady who's a 5 and runs all over 6s and 7s all the time. Which brings me to something else about the handicap system, particularly in the APA. It is highly flawed. So you need to understand, is your player a high 5 or a low 5? Are they a high 4 or a low 4? Especially the 7s. You know, you got a 7 on your team? Well, Shane is also a 7. Okay? It doesn't go any higher than that for 8-ball. So understand that there are highs and lows in all these ranks. And did someone just turn from 4 to 5? This is a big deal. Don't put up your new 5 against the old school 5 who's been a 5 for, 3 or 4 years. Your 5 that just moved up is not necessarily a legitimate 5, which brings me to the next point. Know where your players actually are as far as their skill level. Not every 4 is a 4, not every 5 is a 5. I'm going to do a video about the handicap system soon and discuss this, but in the meantime, make sure you understand the low 4s, low 5s, high 4s, high 5s, and the last thing I'm going to tell you is big coaching mistake is coaching the person to do things that are outside of their capabilities. Hit this spot on your kick shot with right hand English. You say this to a 3 who has never shot a shot with English in their lives, you're asking for a miss. Now, a caveat to this is you need to default to safeties. I gotta tell you, I've seen a number of APA matches, and the most successful timeouts resulted in someone playing a safety. It didn't result in someone making a great shot because somebody pointed at a diamond and said, aim for that, or do this. It usually was, hey, timeout, and play a good safety here by doing this. That's where you can get the most bang for the buck in your coaching. Now, a little bonus. When it comes to timeouts, you should meet with each and every one of the players on your team one-on-one if you are the coach, especially if you're not the best player on the team. Meet with each person one-on-one and ask this question. Do you want me to call timeouts when I see something going on? Or do you want to look at me, nod, and signify that you want to take your time out? Because a lot of you, I hear it all the time. My coach called timeout. I knew exactly what to do. Maybe they vetoed what I wanted to do. Whatever the case was, I hear people say it all the time. My coach called timeout, got me out of my rhythm, gave me a shot that didn't make any sense. I know more than he does. And now he's telling me to do something totally different, and then I want to do it for the team as opposed to doing what I know is the right move because I have a greater education of the game than he does. So be careful about how you use your timeouts and when you're calling them and who you're calling them on. You got a 5 that used to be a 3. There's a good chance if you're a 4, he's a much better player than you are. He moved up that quickly. He's getting some education somewhere, and you're in the middle of his shot calling timeout. So you need to work this out ahead of time. And on that note, recognize players who want to use your timeouts. Never scold a player for using a timeout. I know a lady, once again, who is a solid 5, and she tells me, Bryan, I use all my timeouts. If it's just to catch her breath and to get everything organized in her head or to take her time, she uses her timeouts, whether she needs them or not. This is a very good habit because a lot of times we get involved in the game, we get a little bit of adrenaline rush or whatever, and a timeout gives you an opportunity to just catch your breath, get yourself organized, and go back in there. Work on how you deal with timeouts in your team, and you guys will probably win more games. Once again, thank you to all you APA coaches and people who have organized teams, you captains, because I know it's not easy work to keep everybody organized, keep in touch with everybody, know all the rules, collect the dues, make sure people are showing up and all of that. That could be a full-time job at times. So I do appreciate you guys being part of it and keeping the sport alive. Have a great day. Hit me in the comments, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, are we on the air?